Buckle up. It's the Insurance Dudes Podcast.
Yeah, I want to hear from Joe on this. So Joe, tell us about your Facebook strategies and how you're using social media, because I know you're strong on social, right?
Yeah, that's where I literally, it don't ever come down. This is the first time, literally just during this call is the only time that Facebook would ever be down for me. I mean, I drive so much business through there. And the thing about it too is I think, a lot of people, when they hear social media or they hear Facebook, they think paid. I'm 100% organic. And I think that ultimately what comes down to that is, one, it was the shift to where I'm like, okay, I'm spending tons of time on Facebook, right? And I think that's when you're coming from a model where it's like, dude, I just hit the phone and I sell, right? That's how you make deals, is you get on the phone, to where now it's like I'm spending all this time on Facebook and it's like, man, am I working? Does this work? It was a huge shift, right? But how you have to do that shift is you have to use Facebook as a business tool and not a thing to just look at everybody's babies or a bunch of, wedding pictures and stuff like that. So if you scroll through my timeline, it is all either real estate investor groups, trucking groups, or insurance groups. I mean, there's the only way that there's going to be personal feed is if I'm close friends with them and I engage with them. And so I've totally shifted my entire Facebook to it's only business. It's only group work. So that's where I do a lot of my work is in groups.
And I want you to talk a little bit more about that. So somebody who does use Facebook primarily for friends and family and stuff, I think you touched upon something that might have gone past some years. So you're saying that you join groups, a lot of groups, right? I heard you say real estate, trucking. Talk about those strategies and what somebody else, because I know somebody's going to listen to this like, what do you mean going on Facebook? All I see is Aunt Sally's pictures popping up, right? So Tell us how you actually use it for somebody who might not know it all.
You use the search feature, which is so funny. Nobody ever uses the search feature, and there's so much you can find with that freaking search feature. And it's so many people just don't utilize that. And so literally what I did is, I went to my carriers. What am I competitive with? Okay, this is what I'm going to niche down with. And then I'm just going to go find a bunch of Facebook groups and it was funny at the same time as when Facebook was really pushing groups, they're doing ads and everything, go find a group. There's a group for everything. And they're not lying. There's literally a group for everything. And so I just started going through and joining these groups. And, and I think the key to, and I call it group mining, literally mining data out of these groups, is you can't go spam. I don't pitch. When I go in, I lead with value and education. For my truckers, which I'll share this with y'all, and this literally just happened last night, to where I've been working this group for about 6 months, just going in and my whole thing is to help new venture, new authority guys get up off the ground. So, hey, look, this is all I do. Don't go spend the money over here. Go get a reliable 2012, don't go get the 2021 big techs and the Dodge 4500, and just trying to help them save money, because they don't ever think that, or they'll go buy the truck and the trailer, and insurance is the last step in that. So I would lead with, hey, look, I see this being an insurance, right? I'm not telling them to reach out. I'm just saying, hey, being an insurance, I see this all the time. Go do this, and this. And, and then, basically go from there to where they're like, oh, dude, thank you so much. Well, I was leading with so much of that value and education that I don't even have to pitch them. They're just coming. They're like, hey, well, can you help me with the insurance? I'm like, sure, man. Happy to do that. Click my link, fill that out. I'll work everything from there. Well, the admin started taking notice, right? So a few weeks back, he tagged me in a post. Didn't post anything, just tagged me on somebody's insurance request. And he's like, y'all need to work with Joe. Never talked to the dude ever in my life. Literally have just been working that group. And there was 11,000 members at the time. And so he tags me. So it adds a level of exclusiveness to my name. Hey, dude, if he's the admin, he created this group, we should probably work with Joe, right? So I probably got 10 to 15 trucking leads just off that. So then it shifted to, so now the past few weeks, he was just denying everybody's insurance request in the group and then just screenshotting them and sending them to me. So then it was even more exclusive. I'm the only one that can see them, because there's other insurance agents in there. And then literally last night, he posts, he's like, there's over 15 plus insurance requests per day. I've gotten with the other admins. And so he's got some moderators in there, because they have now grown from 11 to 14,000 they are growing 1,000 members a week, right?
Wow.
So now, guess who's the exclusive insurance agent for that 14,000 growing at 1,000 members per week?
That's great.
It's Joe. And he tagged me in that last night. He created the actual post. All the admins are behind it. I mean, dude, I got flooded. I had to I hired somebody last night because of how much was coming in. Like, I just don't have the time to work all of it. And that's all organic. I mean, it literally was just, and I think you just have to use it as a business tool and not something where you can just go get lost down the rabbit hole. And next thing you know, you're like on YouTube, watching whatever videos. And so where it's like that alone, right? And that's free. And I think everybody just, when they hear Facebook, they think paid. I got to go, hey, what was the ad? And an agent literally asked me, what was the ad? I was like, there wasn't an ad. I got in with the admin, and now I'm the exclusive agent. And so got together with a bunch of agents this morning because we're only in 20 states at this point in time. I wanted to cover all 50 states, right? Because I don't want to give any other room to any other insurance agent. So I brought in 4 people I know that we can cover all 50 states, and it's freaking flowing through to where I literally just submitted a $100K trucking deal a couple of days ago just from that. So.
Yeah, you need to be helpful and play the long strategy, right? It's the long game and not expecting results or immediate results, and just be helpful. But that consistency also is critical. Not just show up and then that's it. Come back and ask.
Well, and one thing I would encourage y'all, don't just be the person, if they're asking for assistance and you can actually help, don't just use an emoji or say me. How I word, I have an author badge in pretty much every group I'm in because I use proper grammar. I make my comment pop. I give them multiple options and how they can reach me, and and set the expectation right there to where, what Pops was saying, even if I'm 5th or 7th, Facebook ranks me as most relevant. And that badge does help because they see me as an author within the group. So I'm well-spoken or whatever, well-written. And so then I just pop to the top. So there'll be all these other insurance agents below me, and then they'll just say me, but they don't give them any way to contact them. I'm like, how are you supposed to help? You didn't even give them your phone number, dude. So I just, use proper grammar, and it's so simple, and use correct punctuation, capitalization, all that.
Can you talk to that? What is an author badge? I didn't even know Facebook can rank people. Right?
I have it, and I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah, so there's badges that they basically, based off of the members within the group, like I am, and there's, depending on the group I'm in, other groups will have visual storyteller because I do a lot of pictures or a lot of, I always will put a picture with my post, and they're just badges within the group that help your ranking. So I'm just noticed more so than maybe somebody who doesn't have that badge. But it depends on what you're doing, right? The author badge is because I'm very well typed out, again, proper punctuation, all of that type of stuff, which I think some people it's so simple, right? And but it's dude, that hurt to read your comment, bro. Where's the period, right? Or it's commas in the wrong place. And I'm oh God, that was hard to read. And so Facebook will just rank you, but it totally gets me to the top when I have a badge versus somebody who doesn't.
Yeah. And so if anybody's listening out there, Facebook wants people to stay on their platform. All the platforms do. So the more you offer value, they have algorithms. They will show your stuff to the group. So to Joe's point, Joe's getting if somebody else posts in that group, their post isn't going to be seen by that many people, but Joe's will be seen. They're going to show it to more people because they know that Joe's providing more value to them, and they want their customers essentially to stay on their platform. So that's awesome. That was huge nuggets for everybody listening out there.
It's free. It's free. You can't beat how often we get free these days. You know what I'm saying? That's the good stuff.
Yeah.
So you guys are crushing it. I want to know, what are you guys stoked on this year? Where are we headed, and what are you guys doubling down on this year? And I'd like to let's hear from David and then Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. So we literally were just not too long ago talking about this. So our focus this year is customer experience. That's really that's what we're going after this year. When you're young and we're literally just writing business, we're not doing all the follow-ups or I should say the touch points throughout the year that we should be doing. So I think this year is about, really building out a customer experience so that when someone encounters Redwood, it's not just a transaction or a process, but it's actually an experience. So how do we do that? And so, but on multiple levels. So we're looking at experience to the customer as they're interacting with our agency, the experience for our agents, like what's their experience for working in my office? Is it just boring, come in, do nothing, whatever? Or is there something more to it? So really, again, elevating and building out and having that kind of experience. And then also experience for our agent program for, our agent owners that are with us that, what is their experience as they're interacting with us, as they're, selling for us, et cetera. What does that look like? So we're kind of looking at just those groups or people that how they experience Redwood. And so really what we're trying to flesh out now is, okay, so what's really the key words around that? And then what are 2 or 3 things that we can really implement to be able to make that happen? So that's really what we're trying to focus on this year. And then I would say the group thing, Joe's been super, he's just been really good in those groups. So just continuing to do that and to help our other people do that as well. Because it's one thing, for one of us to do it, but then how do we get all of our producers to be as effective as he is at doing that? So just making sure that we're sharing all the stuff that we're learning with all the people that are in our agency so that they can continue to do that same thing and have the same kind of success.
Joe?
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say, just to piggyback on that. So yeah, our 3 is like client. So just really providing that optimal client experience, literally on whatever it might be, whether it's as simple as like a claim or billing or just response time. We're picking up on the first ring. We're not like letting them just go to voicemail. That's a big one, obviously. So we run a franchise agent program. So as we've really been able to refine that, why us, right? Like why Redwood? And it's because the experience is unlike any other, right? And then again, for people, this is what I'm trying to do. Just as kind of, I'm on the sales side, so I'm the VP of sales. So anything like in-house production is what I'm really trying to grow out our in-house sales team to where actually we just hired 2 people this past week. So great start for January. And I ultimately want to remove myself from production so that I can focus on working more on the agency and expanding us and coaching and training, right? That's my actual true passion, which I can do that within the industry, which is awesome. I don't think every industry is like that. And maybe sometimes people just use the industry to get to their passion, but it's like, I can do both and I can make money while I'm doing it and I can change people's lives, whether that's somebody who's a client or somebody who's working or selling for us. So that's definitely where I'm trying to double down. I want to build out a sales team and not just, hey, hire a bunch of them, throw them at a wall, see who sticks. Like I really I believe in if I take the time and I vet them and I filter them correctly, like why go hire 50 when I can find 5 that can do the same, right? So that's definitely what we're looking to do, building out. So we're doing obviously personal lines and commercial. So our first step actually is the one guy's personal lines, and the girl is going to be a commercial specialist for us. So That's going to be awesome.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Love it.
Yeah, that's, whew. I don't have to produce as much, which, don't get me wrong, sales is in my blood. Our first year, which was crazy, I literally sold like 1.2 million. I sold 1.2 million myself, but I was just slapping anything on the books I could just to keep our doors open. So learn that the hard way is that, oh yeah, you spent all that time writing that. And I probably lost like 25% of it, if not more, on the back end. So it was like, dang, we did all that for like 1 year. And Dad was like, well, dang, man, I paid you out that whole year and I don't even get any of the renewals, So, definitely learning experience in that. But now we're just really trying to write sticky business. But you got to find the right people to fill the seats to do that. Right.
And it's not scalable to do it yourself anyway. So you got to. Yep. So as we wind it down here, Joe, why don't you give one thing you've learned and that tip that would help somebody that's taking the dive and trying to go scratch, one thing that they must do in order to save themselves from some grief.
Network. I'm actually looking, I might pick your guys' brain on this. I'm actually looking to start a podcast of my own called You Don't Know What You Don't Know. I've seen a lot of agents just jump into something thinking they know everything. And let me tell you, you do not know everything. So I'm a huge believer in networking. Get around not only people in the industry, but they need to be like-minded, right? To where you guys are trying to achieve the same goals and pick their brains. You want to be around people who are willing to collaborate versus, somebody who's got the secret sauce and isn't willing to share. So that's, I started a networking event myself to where it's like no secret sauce. I'm straight up. I will give you any and everything. Like, and literally anybody watching this, like, message me on Facebook. I will literally hop on a Zoom and give you all of my marketing programs, all of my scripts, how I do it, and I'll help you adjust that to your agency. And everybody's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, why? And I'm like, bro, look, I'll give you everything I do. You just got to be better at it than me. Like, I mean, that's if we're being honest, right? Like, I mean, hey, to each their own, but like, I believe in collaboration and what you put in is what you get out. When you're, for the lack of a better term, when you're an ass to other agents, man, I mean, it's just bad karma. It really is. So my one bit of advice is to get around people who have been in the industry or who are just know more than you. And you got to be humble to do that, right? Like, stop talking, just listen to what they have to say. And I think that's been our biggest shift for us is changing our network. Really within the past 6 to 9 months, we have been getting around people that are, wow, I thought we were doing good. Like, we're not even thinking big enough. To where you need people like that around you. So that would be my bit of advice.
There's always a bigger fish.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
How about you, David?
I would say invest in yourself. For probably the first 2.5 years, I didn't do anything for myself at all. And I think what I found was in early 2020, probably first quarter into second quarter, like I just was in a bad space, and when things get tight and you start feeling like, as soon as you get that thought that you need to pull back because you're not afraid, you're afraid that something like it's not going to happen, or, oh, you know what, maybe I just need to, I don't need to quite do that. And that was just kind of the headspace I was in. And I just was managing things and not really leading things. I didn't have really any passion about the business. And then we went to an event with Cody Askins in the fall of 2020. And it was, like 15 people, a power player event thing he had in Springfield. And again, as Joe talked about, I got around some guys that were literally half my age. Like oh my gosh, I felt so old because here's like this 24-year-old kid and he's just crushing it in Idaho. Josh Lustig, hate you. I'm like, I'm so stupid. Like, why was I not doing that when I was his age? But I got around these guys and I literally, it literally just lifted the ceiling off of me where I'm like, Kampert, you are thinking so small, and here's these guys, that are just, I mean, they're crushing it. They're getting after it. And I just had to get my mojo back, but I needed to be around other people to do that. And sometimes in this independent space, you can be on an island, maybe with a captive, you've got a group or a district or whatever. You're kind of, as an independent, you lose that. And so you've got to invest in yourself. Get yourself, go to some events, go to some things, get some training, but spend some money on yourself to just, to be better, whether that's a better leader, whether that's a better salesperson, just your skills or skill set. And hey, I know it's tough when you're first getting going, but just do whatever you can do. And, even if it's just watching free content on YouTube, I think it'll make a huge difference.
Yeah. So it's just action.
I love what you said.
Gotta have action.
Yes. And I love what you said about like it was the ego, right? You went there, you're like all these young guys there, but then they're doing some really cool stuff. You take what then all this other stuff that you're learning, and now and you couldn't have done that if you didn't put the ego aside. I think the ego part of this is a huge one, especially if you've been in the industry a while. I think we all have our days where we do extremely well. There's going to be times that we kind of suck, and it's like you don't want to keep your ego on that wave that you rode at that time, and just be like, well, you know, I used to do this, you know, like we see that a lot, and it's I love that.
Yeah, you're totally right, and when we came back from that retreat, so then we joined Closers Click with David Denning and Sandra Gephardt, because I had all this whatever, and then you just and like they just kept me accountable. You know, it's like one thing that you kind of get that mindset shift, but then like you said, like you were just saying, you got to go do something with it. And so I had the weekend experience, and that's great. But you can go right back into the same thing where you just left, and you just go right back to doing the stuff you were doing. So we were super fortunate to I can't remember now how we even found out about that group, but we got into that as kind of, again, just kind of their initial core group of people. And Sandra and David, man, I mean, just every single week you had accountability to the things they were teaching us and showing us. And like you said, humble to say, hey, I need, there's absolutely stuff I need to learn and grow with. And they're giving me a good kick in the butt to make sure that we're doing that. And that, as a new agency, I mean, it's been huge for us to keep it going.
Awesome.
And I want to, for Pops, I think mindset was a big thing for him, like what he touched on, but, he shifted from because I wanted to go to everything. We didn't have the money, but I'd still ask, right? Because I wanted to go. I wanted to go meet people. I just love getting out there. And he's like, dude, I don't think you understand how broke we are. And, I think that power players thing finally, I mean, we spent, thousands of dollars going to do it. And that literally changed his mindset from this is an expense. It's investment, right? And I think when you're spending money, it's sometimes hard to look at it as investment, right? Especially if you're tight on money. So that was a big thing for him. I think I saw this mindset. And I literally, the next morning, I'm on the phone trying to close a deal, and the dude comes running in my office, and he's like playing. His whole song is Drake, Started From the Bottom, Now We Here. And he's playing it on his speaker, and he's like, yeah, man, like all hyped up. And I'm like, dude, I'm on the call. Like, I'm trying to close this deal, dude. Can you get out of my office? But I've never seen him that energized. And just that, like, okay, let's freaking do this thing. And it was one event, right? And I think that's all it takes. Even if it's just one event, it can change your life forever, for sure.
Yeah. It's remarkable. People
100%.
will pull the money out and then go invest it in another company. Jason and I talk about it all the time, but you won't turn around and invest it in your own company where you're going to get 10 times instead of 8%, 12%. And then there's risk. It's crazy. So, you guys, thank you so much. If somebody wants to work for you guys, how can they look up Redwood?
Just go to our website. RedwoodAgencyGroup.com. You can find us there. Facebook, we're everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, cool. Just search for Redwood Agency Group and you'll find us and you can get in touch with us. Awesome. Well, perfect. Thank you guys so much for coming on. It's been awesome. This has been great.
Such a great story.
Yeah. Really good. Yeah. Really good.
Thanks for having you guys on the podcast. Love what you guys are doing for the industry, educating and helping people out. So again, I know it's tough. You guys got day jobs and everything else you're trying to do, man. So thank you for everything you guys are doing to help people out. It's very cool. Awesome. We'll see you the next time.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you guys.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Hey, Jason.
Yes, Mr. Craig.
That was another awesome episode, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if people want to get a little bit more action and learn how to do write 100,000 in premium off of even the worst internet leads, where could they go?
They can go to live.teledudes.com.
Ooh, that sounds exciting. Are we going to be there?
Yes. It's a weekly call that we're doing right now it's live, and it will show you the process. The entire process is super awesome.
I love it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Sign up right now. Live.teledudes.com.
Live.teledudes.com. That's live.teledudes.com.
Hey, Craig, there's a new community that we are starting that I cannot wait to tell everybody about. It is our live texting community where you and I are going to answer people's questions and give them free content, right?
Are you kidding me? We get to talk to them?
Yeah, which is awesome, but they have to opt in. They have to text us at 520-214-2219. That's 520-214-2219.
Nice.
Craig, are you going to respond to these texts?
I'm going to respond to them for sure. Live.
I'm into it too. It's going to be awesome. And it's going to be our new texting community where we're going to get back to everybody that we can and drop some crazy content, free content, and free the calculator that you just came up with. That's right. The calling calculator, sales material. I mean, everything for insurance agents. This is it. It's the best texting community out there for insurance agents.
Well, what the heck is that number again? I can't remember it.
It's 520-214-2219. That's
Okay.
520-214-2219.
I love it. I'm going to text it right now.
520-214-2219.
All right. I'll see you later, Mr. Jason.
Bye, Mr. Craig.
Wait, do they even listen to this on the radio anymore?
I love it. I love it.
Nice.
All right.